The work takes place in the classroom, but the play begins right here in the area near Purdue University known as the Village, where it's constantly changing, but some things remain the same. I think our special guest, Mayor John Dennis, would agree.
Yes, I would. Welcome to the historic landmark of the first town hall and first fire station for the city of West Lafayette. We hope you enjoy our tour of the village.
The area known as the Village, adjacent to campus, is anchored by a bank designed by noted Chicago architect Louis Sullivan. This is one of his jewel boxes, the smallest and least expensive of all the banks Sullivan designed. It opened in 1914 and continues to be a jewel in the West Lafayette community. Another Village classic is Morton School, now Morton Community Center. It was designed in 1929 in a classical revival style that was considered the most appropriate style for public buildings, particularly those associated with knowledge, learning, or the arts. Plenty of history has taken place in the Village at another historic landmark, Harry's Chocolate Shop. We're here in the Village in West Lafayette at Harry's Chocolate Shop, and I'm with Mary Cook, who along with her husband Herschel own the restaurant and bar. But it's called a chocolate shop, and we can see that it's not exactly a chocolate shop. So tell us a little bit about that history.
It was opened in 1919 as a soda fountain, primarily luncheonette, by Harry Merrick Sr. and his family. And over the years, operated mostly in that capacity, but at one point brought in beer and then subsequently liquor, and was the only source of alcohol with proximity to the university through many years.
So Harry's is more than just a college bar. You've got a lot of locals who like to enjoy Harry's as well.
Locals and the tradition. If you've left Purdue and you come back 5 years, 10 years, 50 years later, we're still on the same corner. Even though the dynamics of the village and everything around us has changed, and we have changed, we're still in the same location, just trying to keep the tradition true and alive to the origins of the business.
What are some of the iconic pieces here at Harry's? I know one place where people like to sit is the fishbowl downstairs. You've got the area upstairs where a lot of people like to sit, but what about some of the pieces in Harry's as well?
Original to the business from the point at which we took over, and original to the building, the back bar is the soda fountain bar, the tin ceiling, the luncheonette sign. We have some pieces above the bar that are, when it was operated as soda fountain, the syrup came in it, the tins, the malts, the things like that. The fishbowl is something that was created after my husband Herschel and I took the reins, and we took over the property next door, and it became kind of a gathering place to see and be seen, because you were in the front window without people coming and going except for the street watching you.
What's it been like to be the owner of such a popular and historic place?
We love the people. That's the best part of the job. I mean, we have walls filled with stories and reminiscence. But we'll have someone walk in age 80 that came back for something at the university and say, this is where I met my wife, this is where I did this or that, and we're usually standing down here at the end of the bar.
Well, Mary, thanks so much for the beer and the t-shirt. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
We're here in the Village at Fire Station number 1, and once I get done playing around here in the fire truck, we're going to go track down Terry Jones. Well, we've caught up with Terry by the lockers, and Terry, tell us what's the story behind these lockers?
Well, these lockers, to the best of my knowledge, are original equipment that came with the fire department, built in 1917. All the new guys that come on really love to have these for nostalgia reasons, and which aren't given up very easily by some of the senior firemen. But they were just restored in 2004 or 5 when we restored the whole upstairs. This one here, it's got 3 different dates on it. This one is December 1st, 1930, November 1st, 1964, and this gentleman started April 1st, 1977.
The fire station hasn't always been just a fire station. When it first started, it was more than that, and this is one of those rooms that wasn't part of the fire station originally. It was part of something else, right?
That's correct, yes. This was the entrance to the courtroom, which was held right up in here, in half of this room. One half was living quarters for the fire department, which had a big curtain drawn, and court was held over here on this side.
So you had City Hall, the mayor, the police, fire, all in one big building.
One big building, that's right.
What about the window treatments? What are some of the things that the fire department's done?
A few years ago, when all the firemen got together and remodeled, they stripped every bit of oak, dismantled all this, and added a few novelties to it.
I'm sure it's a pretty popular place with the firefighters. What can you tell us about the kitchen and what you've done here?
Well, the kitchen has been increased by size about threefold. It used to be just over in this corner, along with the pole in the same room. All the firemen done this while they were on duty.
So who gets stuck doing most of the cooking? Is it the young guys or?
Sometimes young guys if they're good enough.
If they're good enough. Well, Terry, I gotta admit, it's always been a childhood dream of mine to go down a fire pole, and what do you think the chances are I could do that?
Well, as long as you're careful, I think you can handle that task.
All right, let's give it a shot.
All righty.
Like this. Terry, thanks a lot for the tour of Fire Station number 1 and the opportunity to go down the fire pole. Really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. I enjoyed giving tours.
Great. Thanks again, Terry.
Thank you.
We're here with Greg Arisman. He's the owner of the Triple X, along with his wife, Carrie. And Greg, can you tell us what some of the unique things are on this menu?
We have the prime cuts, which are named after either a Purdue mascot like the Boilermaker Pete or past Purdue greats, and some current greats that are still at Purdue and still around.
Now, there's a lot of history with the Triple X. I mean, being started in 1929, it's Indiana's oldest drive-in.
Yep.
What kind of pride do you take in that history, and how difficult is it to keep something like this going?
I was thinking about that question on the way into town. You have to have the right kind of mindset if you want to continue something like this, and it's easy if you think of it that way. We're in 82 years now here at the same location. We're the only Triple X left out of the hundreds that were around back in the 20s and 30s. And the history of this place is the quality, it's the consistency, it's the good service, and it's a place where when you come back to, you want it to be just like what you remembered. It's a landmark. I mean, people look for this. You know, they want to come back to it. You always want to go back to your roots and see what has changed or what hasn't changed. And our biggest compliment is someone who has been gone for 40 or 50 years come back and they take a bite of the sandwich or a drink of the root beer and they go, boy, that's just like I remembered. That's the greatest compliment I could ever have.
And this is the original spot, and it's also the original part of the original building.
Part of the original structure. That's right. Here's one of our namesake sandwiches. If you want to get a little close up, that's a Dwayne Purvis with peanut butter. We spoke to you about that a little bit earlier.
I'll have to dig into some of this.
Yeah, you'll have to give that a try. But this is the only Triple X left, still utilizing some of the, and it's still utilizing some of the structure, but it's also the only one left in the original spot, period. This brown structure that we painted these boards up around the top, that's actually part of the original structure that you see in the photos over here on where Burt Wright is setting out in front.
Okay.
And you can see that structure, and the only down post that still exists is over back in the corner by the kitchen.
Now, a few years ago, you guys had a little bit of publicity thrown your way. What was that experience like with the Food Network?
That was, I can't even begin to tell you what that did for us. That was the single most greatest thing business-wise that has happened here, bar none. And it went from a line for maybe a couple, 3 hours to now a line that's 8 to 10 hours on event weekends. And it's pretty fantastic. I mean, you cannot get any better exposure than something like that.
Well, we'd love for you to show us around the restaurant and see what you guys have here.
Not a problem.
Before that, I'm going to do my best guy impression.
You better
and take
dive
a bite
into
out
that
of this burger.
and see how that works. It might be a little drippy on the peanut butter, so, you know. Not good. You're going to need a couple of these. This is my dad cutting meat upstairs. When people say, gee, you really do it that way? On occasion, we've actually taken them up and shown them exactly what we do, and they're completely blown away by it. So we have those guys. This is a shot of ours with Guy Fieri. This was a great honor, Milestone Award 75th anniversary. When we say that we bought my wife and I, Carrie and I bought the brand a couple of years ago, people look at this picture and it's just like, oh wow, when you get down here to bottle, it's just like, we bought a file cabinet with a whole lot of paperwork, but we don't actually own a bottling plant. You know, dream someday, yeah, but you know, right now, not yet, but we'll get there. This is the meat and potatoes of the program here. Very small grills. We wish we had a little more room. We're still trying to figure out how to get more stuff going in here. But our cooks coming back through here bring food out of this place like you would not believe. I mean, it still amazes me to this day, the level of talent and dedication these guys have and what they do to make all this work real well. So it's pretty fantastic.
Well, that's a wrap for the Village. For Tour de West Lafayette, I'm Stephen Smith. Now it's time for some Harry's Hospitality.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
A small window that looked west to the rocky ledge above the sea, and just below the horizon and beneath the splintered tree, I placed my head upon his breast. I looked the other way, I waved goodbye 100 times from the small window that looked west. Oh, my son has sailed away to sea with no promise to return, and the boy that sat upon my knee had no taste. The farm too